Hello. It is October 3rd and Pub Talk is back. Today, of course, we're going to talk football. We have some more NFL talk for you guys today, as well as some college football. We're also going to taste some beers in house today, because I'm back in the house, of course. And then we are going to have Hops of the Week to finish us off. But before we get to that, we want to thank our sponsor, Route 11 Chips. Route 11 Chips, the best chips here in the Shenandoah Valley with great flavors such as barbecue, Chesapeake crab, and salt and pepper. 25 plus years of being in the business has led to some damn fine chips. So check out your local stores to grab your chip bag today. Okay, lights, beer, action. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am back in the house today.
CJ in the house.
Because apparently we had some audio issues.
We have a new mixer coming. New mixer on its way. Hopefully we can solve some of that.
I was invited back to the house, so I am here. But nothing has changed.
We had to
Football
coax him
is
with
still
wings.
Football is still on Saturday. It's Sunday.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So depending on who your team is, they're either going to get roasted today or they're going to be, actually talked about in a good way. So,
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start off with, some of the host teams. Fuck it. I'm sorry.
we're watching Pittsburgh and
Green Bay.
Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers pulls a rabbit out of the hat too many damn times.
So let's start off with your team then. Last time we spoke, we talked about Chicago in a way where we couldn't see them having a good offense and a good defense. Now, where we stand, we
had a little taste of both today.
I am absolutely furious with your team and your head coach.
Yeah.
Your head coach, when I watched that Cleveland Browns game a week ago, when Justin Fields got his first NFL start, he got his first taste of an NFL start because Dalton went down. You guys absolutely shit the bed. And you guys had 46 yards of total offense.
Justin Fields was 6 of 20.
46.
6 of 20 for 68 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. None. He rushed 3 times for 12 yards. We had 46 yards rushing and
one
passing yard. One passing yard. Yep.
Let me just be clear here. I have seen negative rushing yards. I have seen games where teams have held teams to negative rushing yards. It is a thing. The Steelers have done it in the past. The Steelers have had it happen to them in the past. But never in my life have I ever seen a team get one net passing yard.
He was sacked 9 times for minus 67 yards.
Once again, though, you're telling me that this is the offense that you have concocted for Justin Fields, who you drafted 11th overall.
Yep.
And let me be very clear. If you're a person who, once again, just loves to, hate on young guys like this, who say, well, he's just not ready for the NFL, he's just not that good. Once again, Justin Fields only lost 2 games in his college career. In his college starting career, okay, forget Georgia because he never played. He never started. Because he lost the national championship to Alabama. But he didn't start. That was Jake Fromm. In his 2 years as a starting quarterback, Justin Fields lost 2 games. Both of them were in the national championship against Alabama and the college football playoff game against Trevor Lawrence. And let me tell you this. Trevor Lawrence got drafted over Justin Fields. Justin Fields in both those games against Trevor Lawrence was better than Trevor Lawrence was. In both of those games.
100% agree.
He was
the
better
guy.
The better quarterback in those games.
Clarence would be happy with you saying that, too.
And no doubt in my mind that he was ready for the NFL. And he, today, against the Lions, look so comfortable. But once again, it goes back to that Browns game where you had a game plan knowing that Justin Fields was going to be the starter, and you made him look just awful. And not only that, I said this many times, I think Matt Nagy did it on purpose.
I don't want to believe that,
Coach. I don't want
to believe that, but
that
it
game,
certainly did not look good.
But that game, you had one passing play where he was outside the pocket. You had one designed passing play where you would force him out of the pocket. What the fuck? He is a quarterback who is a mobile quarterback, and you're telling me that is the only designed play that you could come up with was one passing
And here's
play.
the thing. Here's my thing too. Is Matt Nagy? I want to like him because school. Matt Nagy played at Powerhouse Mannheim Central in Pennsylvania in high school, and then he goes on to play quarterback at Delaware, and he has a celebrated career.
Then I can hate him.
And he was, by all accounts, he was a great.
I can hate him then because he went to the same school as Joe Flacco, but yeah.
He coaches at Philadelphia. Pretty decent career in Philadelphia, and then he becomes quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator at Kansas City. And when they start, his freaking status gets elevated. And then
he never coached Mahomes. He coached Alex Smith. Mahomes didn't start until Matt Nagy's first year in Chicago.
17.
Huh? Yeah,
2017.
No, Matt Nagy's first year was 18.
He coached with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was the OC until 17.
Yeah, Mahomes didn't start in 17, though. That was still Alex Smith.
17?
Yeah, that was Alex Smith.
Position at freaking with the Bears. And so you'd think after being in this position, you played the position, you know what it requires. And Justin Fields is the athlete that you want to command your offense. Okay, granted, Dalton goes down with an injury, but you replace Dalton, who's a career veteran with who's not a bad quarterback. Let's face it, the red stronger guy, and the best thing you can get out of him is 1 yard offense. Are you shitting? Or 1 yard passing? Are you shitting me? That's all you could create for him? And so I don't want to believe you, CJ. I really don't want to believe you, but you go back to the preseason, and he stated to the press, freaking Andy Dalton's my starter. Andy Dalton's my starter.
That's what I'm getting at, though, is that...
Like, he didn't want to be proven wrong. He didn't want to be...
That's what I'm getting
And so
at,
you take a guy like... Did we get a...
Sorry,
we got a big
continue.
pass. I'm sorry. Well, I'm just saying, you take a guy like like Justin Fields, and you have this super talent. You have a guy who is extremely, extremely talented, and you fucking put him into a meat grinder. You put him into a meat grinder. Because we talked about it before the show. How good is Cleveland's front?
Yeah, I without a doubt, right now, they have the best front four in football.
Jadeveon Clowney's freaking career has turned around.
Myles Garrett
is a
Malik
fucking
Jackson,
animal.
and Sheldon Richardson.
There are freaking beasts up front.
Yeah.
And you put him in a meat grinder.
Like
you couldn't have better plays. And then you tell me this week, because he had to know. You can't tell me he didn't know that his freaking neck was on the chopping block this week. I could just imagine Virginia McCaskey. Matthew, we have to get better plays out of my boy Justin.
I also look at this week, and I saw Matt Nagy continuously say, the decision has not been made on who's my starting quarterback. What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Are you this fucking petty that you're going to wait until the very end because you seriously think that... Because Andy Dalton didn't even dress today. Like, he didn't even dress. So you're telling me that Andy Dalton was still in the running to start over Justin Fields when he didn't even fucking dress?
Yeah.
What was the point then of having the whole fucking competition?
Yep,
And then that Cleveland Browns game, I don't know what happened since that double doink game, but it's like something unplugged in Matt Nagy's brain where he just cannot run a team. He won Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And now people don't want to fucking play for him.
Right.
He has teams that commit penalties. He has teams that just fall under the pressure. And of course, the thing also is that I think he ran into a team that was ultimately had Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback.
Yep.
But at the same time,
Yeah,
I don't know. I honestly don't know, really. But the thing for me is that I seriously think that he did it intentionally.
And if that is true, I am so sad. I think about the talent that Justin Fields has, and to think that he would be put out there and be put into a terrible position. One of the worst things that happens, though, is freaking, Montgomery goes down with a freaking knee injury. How bad is that going to hurt them?
Yeah, but they still have Damian Williams, luckily.
I
but
mean,
he is not Montgomery.
right. And so you put them into a tough position. They're in a tough position. So I don't know. I think about today's game, and I'm thinking to myself, this was a good sign. This was a good sign. He made good decisions. The team played well. I'm hoping that this turns out to be just a tweak, and that Montgomery is better off than they want him to, than having him lose him for a freaking, I don't know. I just, you can't take a piece like that out of your offense and then put it on this kid. He doesn't even throw, Justin Fields doesn't even throw a touchdown today. He had a pick. He throws a little over 200 yards and has a pick. So while he played better, him and Darnell Mooney, they look good.
Last thing I'll just say, though, is that, like I said, that Browns game, it just looked like some of those plays were just, it was like watching it. You watch some of those plays and you go, this is the best thing that you could come up with.
Right.
For a guy like him, this is the best thing that you could come up with. Then you have all these fans out there who's like, he's just not good, Sonny. He's just not fucking good.
Yeah, he's not ready to play.
He's not ready. Like I said, he lost 2 fucking games in college. This guy lost 2 games.
And then he dropped in a couple of balls to Darnell Mooney today that show you that he's ready to play. He dropped a couple
Over
of
the
dimes
middle
on
of the field,
and then
too.
the one dime on the sideline that he throws to Mooney. Just pretty damn good. Pretty damn nice job.
All right, next
so we'll
team.
get off.
I wanted to talk about the Chargers because
goodness
the
gracious.
Chargers, man. Tomorrow night's going to be a great game. Monday
I think so.
night, Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. But man, the Chargers. I knew it was going to happen though. Justin Herbert, he finally gets a different coach in there. Anthony Lynn is gone, and now the Chargers right now, dude, they just beat the fucking defending AFC champions. Like, they're rolling. And not only that, Brandon Staley, last game against the Chiefs, said, fuck you. It's 4th down. I'm not giving them the ball back with enough time on the clock to get a lucky-ass bomb down the field. Because my brother has told me many times, and I agree with him, the Chiefs are a good team. But they are a very lucky team sometimes.
Well, you know
because
what?
Because it's in spurts that it happens where you're just like, Tyreek Hill has had 5 catches all game, and then all of a sudden he's open down the field 75 yards, and he's just fucking wide open all of a sudden.
Well,
and
they always say where preparation meets opportunity, and you can't tell me that the Kansas City's not well coached. They just met a team where the guy that's in charge, and I'm talking about Herbert, where he arrived. He threw 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs.
And then on that last drive, on that 4th down, he's like, nope. We're not giving them time.
Right.
We're not kicking this field goal with time left on the clock.
Right.
Get the first down that play, and then the next play, fucking touchdown.
And
they literally get a touchdown.
And you see that later on, especially when Green Bay plays. They left freaking Aaron Rodgers almost a whole damn minute, 40 some odd seconds. You don't leave
it was
him
like
40
30 seconds, yeah.
You don't leave 40. I'm going to look it up. I think they throw it with 44 seconds left, 43 seconds left. Mm-hmm. Really? Are you shitting me? You're going to give him that much time? You think about the quarterbacks that you're Peyton Manning, freaking Drew Brees, freaking Tom Brady, Tom Brady, even freaking Roethlisberger. You throw a veteran quarterback out there with time and an opportunity to win it. Freaking even Matt Ryan. I was looking Matty Ice. He had 40 freaking come from behind wins in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
40 games to win it.
Yeah.
And
but the Chargers, like I said, They just look like a renewed team now with
Yep.
a new head coach.
100%.
And Justin Herbert now in his second year. Like I said, last year he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it was completely deserved because he is 100% a good prospect.
Yep.
And I think he also did get kind of lucky, though, with everything that happened to Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, goodness gracious. It was like the perfect moment. How do you
Yeah.
freaking get a shot before the game and you puncture his lung or whatever?
And he comes in against Kansas City, in Kansas City, too.
Yeah.
They're in Kansas City, and they beat them right then and there, and I go, man, that's great. They literally played
Justin
that game
Herbert
perfectly.
has arrived. He's got all the tools, and we said that going all the way back to
And
draft
they have-
night.
And he has a great pair of receivers in Mike Williams from
Yep.
Clemson.
Yep.
And then Keenan Allen, who's
who's
a veteran.
probably one of the best
Yep.
all around
Route
possession
runners,
and
yep.
route runners in the league. Period. I would put him up there with. Okay, so what's his name? Tyreek Hill has that freaking burst of speed, but Keenan Allen gets open. He doesn't have that freaking world-class sprinter speed, but some bitch finds a way to get open, and
Yeah.
you can't overlook that.
I think that the Chargers right now, and like I said, tomorrow they're two undefeated teams.
Mm-hmm.
They're two undefeated teams. Wait, are they undefeated? I don't think the Chargers are, but they're two great teams that are going to face
Chargers are 2-1 or 3-1.
3-1.
Yep.
Okay, so they're going to face a 4-0 Las Vegas team
Who
is
scrappy as
rolling
hell.
right now.
Scrappy as hell.
They're scrappy, but man, did they look different now. Derek Carr is throwing the ball deep. He's making his receivers wide open. He has one of the best all-around players in the NFL on his team, and Darren Waller as well.
Yeah.
And their defense is actually playing good defense.
When you look at Darren
really
Waller
is.
at this stage of his career, is he better than Gronkowski?
I'm not there yet.
Do you put him
Not
in
there
in
yet.
terms of possession receiver? Do you put him in Gronkowski? What about Kittle, and what about Kelsey?
I'm not there with Gronk, but I would definitely put him up there with Kittle. I would, because
I mean, he's tough to cover.
if you look at,
I mean, they covered him with corners, and he's still open. He's,
that's why I'm saying I don't think he's there at Gronk, because Gronk does that to corners. Gronk.
That's
Gronk
a
got
linebacker
double-
mismatch, kind of thing. He made his career on that. He's not playing. He's not playing this week either.
He's not playing tonight. He'll
Tonight.
be there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
You got to go back home.
of course.
Yeah.
But Las Vegas, man, oh man, you're undefeated, and like I said, right now, early MVP, Derek Carr, man, they fucking beat Baltimore week 1 in overtime. They go all the way to Pittsburgh, and they make Pittsburgh look like a bunch of Joe Schmoes,
Yep.
and they beat them.
They
Then
beat the
come
Dolphins
back
in
home,
overtime?
and then they beat the Dolphins in overtime in another scrappy game as
Yep.
well. And now they're going to be at home. Oh wait, no, they're going to Los Angeles against.
The Chargers.
The Chargers.
At SoFi. Is it at SoFi?
No, they would be at home because the Rams are playing right now at SoFi, so they wouldn't be.
You're right.
They wouldn't
You're
be
right.
there.
You're right.
So they're gonna play for a 4-0 fucking record right now.
No, they played Monday. They're playing at
I
SoFi
said
on
tomorrow.
Monday.
They're playing at SoFi.
Yep.
Damn, that facilities crew is fast, aren't they? For over there at SoFi, they can get it all turned around for them on Monday night.
Yeah. I saw some documentary on how they do it. It's pretty wild how they pull up the end zones and stuff like that. It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you got $4 billion or some shit for that freaking stadium, is that place impressive or what?
I mean,
Steelers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my Steelers are. I'll say this: I wanted Ben to retire after last year. I think that after having that elbow reconstruction surgery, I think that sure he looked great in the first half of the season, but then after that, it started to seem like, why is this offense constantly just throwing small passes? Why is it? And it may be because Ben just doesn't have it in him anymore. But now,
Well, he definitely doesn't have the movement that you need.
and
He just doesn't have that movement. And in order to survive in this league, you have to be able to move. They got humbled by the Bengals last week.
yeah, and Cincinnati, I'll give it to him.
Cincinnati's like freaking Sybil. You never know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying is Joey B can have great days, And then he can have some bad days. And when he played against Pittsburgh, he had a great day.
Yeah.
He did. And then he played against Jacksonville, and you put the ball in his hands with time left in the game, and he's like, I fucking got this.
I know how to
Don't
do
worry.
this. Yeah,
I know how to do this.
So he's
not
another one.
great.
And I'll tell you this. You think he's 100% healthy?
Yeah, I would say so. I
You
would
think
say so
so?
now. Now
Okay.
that he's gotten hit a couple times, he's like, oh, this is fine. I'm back. I'm fine.
I can adapt. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
And each week I survive, I'm going to get stronger and stronger. But he's just a fucking leader. You see
He's
it
a
on
man.
you
He
see
is.
it on his face
Yeah, he's
when he's
cocky.
out there.
You know,
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Well, you
People
almost
don't
have
like-
to be to play this position, aka Aaron Douche Rodgers.
But
he's,
I'm saying, like, he's cocky in a way of saying, like, yeah, I believe in myself. Is that a problem? Because a lot of teams, like, just don't like, it's just like, they don't like seeing a guy, whenever he's in the national championship doing this. It's just like, he's gonna fucking win the game. Why can't he do that?
We're not on
it's
camera
not
sees it.
respectable.
We're not
Like
on
my
camera sees it.
dumbass brother who doesn't like this, Winfield putting up the deuces to Tyreek Hill when he'll do it to everybody else around him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. But with Burrow, it's like he has a lot of confidence in
He's
himself.
not doing it at anybody's expense. He's celebrating his accomplishments, kind of thing. Whereas, Tyreek's freaking,
whenever you see like Brady hunched over on the sideline with time left on the field, you're like, the game's fucking over. I gotta leave right now because you just pissed him off. And it's just, but yeah, that's another guy. But
Yeah.
my Steelers. It sucks to see a good player in Najee Harris struggle right now, because I do think that Najee is a great pickup for them.
I think he's an
But-
every down back, and you got to like that about an every
But
down
the problem is for me is that when I see that the offense has not adapted as much as it should have from last year when they cleaned house on offense, I go, I don't see Ben making it past another year. And that sucks. It sucks because he
But-
has been the quarterback for
but-
so long.
But you have to realize that it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Just like with the Patriots, I'm sure they were like, when they heard
Yeah.
that Brady was leaving, it's like, what?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
yeah.
He's been our quarterback for 20 years now. Yeah. And it happens. And it's going to happen for the Steelers, and it's going to be a rough time. And who knows what'll happen whenever Mike Tomlin leaves as well, because I'm sure that day is coming soon as well. You can't have the same people running your team constantly, unless you're the Bengals and you want to be mediocre constantly and have Marvin Lewis there every single year. Or unless, you want to have mediocre coaches like with the Bears constantly because they haven't had a fucking good coach in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So that's what I have on the Steelers. Next, I'll talk about.
You say that, and we were talking about the Patriots, and so let's go with the Patriots. Let's talk about them because everybody points at Bill Belichick. Everybody talks about Brady leaving. Was it Brady? Was it Belichick? Was it? And you cannot be that freaking farsighted that you just can't see that the two of them together with Josh McDaniel, with Bill O'Brien, with Charlie Weiss, all their OCs, that was a combination of the principles that Belichick has his team operated by, that bred success into Brady, and then Brady's talent takes it to another level.
I think it did later in his career.
I think so.
Coach.
I think so.
I think earlier in his career, though, when Brady took over for Bledsoe, I go, I don't know, man. I don't think that's Belichick. I think that's Brady just being like, I am the guy. I am.
Yeah, I think
the
he was
once in a lifetime.
Well, I think he started with Charlie Weiss, then he moved to Bill O'Brien, and I think that those guys provided him with the things that we expected Matt Nagy to do for Justin Fields, is that provide him with a series of plays that help him be successful. Tom Brady's not going to run the ball, although he's a 1,000-yard rusher. But you know what I mean? So I look at that and I say to myself, I think it was a combination of things. First of all, you're not coaching on Belichick's staff unless you're a quality freaking coach. You're just not going to be on his staff if that's the case. You're just not.
Yeah.
And so when I look at and then just recently, of course, Brady's going back to freaking New England tonight. And then the media wants Bill Belichick to say something about Brady, and then he fucking just knocks him. He just punches him right in the jawbone, and he says that when he was asked if he would have the same success with another quarterback, he goes, "I think I've been on record dozens of times saying there is no quarterback I would rather have than Tom Brady. I still feel that way. I was very lucky to have Tom as a quarterback and to coach him."
Yeah.
He was
Because
as good
any
as...
idiot would say something different.
And Brady says he was as good as any coach that any player could ever ask for, period. And so I just shut up. Stop talking about that. Stop trying to make a story about the best coach in football. Because there isn't one fucking reporter, not one of those fuckers, that could even remotely question Bill and his understanding of how football is to be played. You can never underplay his career success as a coach. You know what I mean? Why do they try to do that? Why do you try to...
No, because in this generation now, Coach, it's not even just my generation. It's a little bit more previous as well. More millennials. They don't like to see that people have success because they always say, why does he have so much success and why is that the case? I believe that that's the reason. And instead of saying, like, it's kind of like what happens now. Why do you make so much money? Why do you make so, and why can't I have that money?
Right.
Because it's kind of like that ordeal. It's like, why does Brady get all these wins? Oh, he has to be cheating. Same thing with Belichick. Oh, he has to be cheating. They have to be cheaters. And I will never like them because I know that they cheat.
Right.
I know that they do this and that.
And there isn't a team in the league that isn't trying to get an advantage over their opponent at any time.
Just like whenever the whole Deflategate thing happened, when you literally had like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers come out saying, we deflate our balls to our liking. What are you talking about?
And then they have...
Nope, we're suspending him.
And then
I want him gone.
Then ESPN puts a sports science out of there, like, deflating the ball does not offer any benefit whatsoever. They pulled that sports science segment. That's why they don't even have it on anymore. How stupid is that?
And then you suspended him for 4 games, and what happened? He won the Super Bowl. I mean, he still won the Super Bowl.
Right.
And not even that, he completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
I recorded that. That was on TV last night. I've watched it like 10 times. I'm going to watch it 11.
But like, that's what I see with Brady. But what about? I want to talk about the Patriots right now. This is a Mac Jones-led team.
Yeah.
And what do you see differently about this team as you would with like a Tom Brady team, though? Excuse me.
An offensive line. You got to have an offensive line that can really protect this kid. And as good as James White is, you need another cast of characters. You know what I mean? I think that I'm not saying that Brady has always had great receivers around him, but I don't know how good all of those receivers are with the Patriots right now. And that makes it tough on a young quarterback. You know, when Drew Bledsoe was leading that team, they were a good football team. Brady stepped into the perfect position. You know what I mean? He stepped into an opportunity to be great because he had greatness around him. And that helps. That helps because that team was not lacking confidence in any way. You know what I mean? They were up and coming. They were freaking ready to shock the world, so to speak. They were ready to have that evolution of their team, and Brady just fit the picture. Yeah. Because when you go back and you look at who he was as a backup, he was standing right there. I'm fucking with Drew. Drew's my guy. I'm his guy. We're going to do this together. I want to know what he knows. He wants to know what I know. We talk together. We create a really good team. And so he steps in.
And he was the 4th-string quarterback on the depth chart.
Right, when they first started.
Then in year 2, he was the backup.
Right, then he was the backup, and then, Drew Bledsoe.
And the history rewritten
was cast in stone, in week 2 when he suffers that. And then, you have to rise to the moment, too. You have to have the ability to rise to the moment. When I look at guys like freaking Trevor Lawrence and who's a kid with the Jets, Zach
Wilson.
Wilson, and I look at those guys. You know, they're put into impossible positions.
Oh, yeah.
Those are not the same positions that Tom Brady stepped into. You look at what Russell Wilson has done with Seattle. He is a field commander. I mean, he understands the offense goes through him.
But you also have to remember that he stepped into a team that had pieces building up.
Exactly.
And 1 year after his rookie season, they win the fucking Super
Think
Bowl.
about Patrick Mahomes sitting behind freaking Alex Smith. And Alex Smith is, and there isn't a player in the league that doesn't believe that he didn't have the knowledge to be a better quarterback. And they had the pieces, and they were up and coming. And then you throw this young gunslinger out there, and you put him into a great position. And look at where freaking Justin Herbert is now. You have a team that is putting pieces around him, and he's up and coming, and there you go. The same thing can be said about Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. They were put into situations where their team had a cast of characters around them.
Yeah, that Packers team that won the Super Bowl, you have to remember, they on their defense, they had guys like Charles Woodson at that time. They also had guys like what's his name? He's in prison right now. Darren Sharper at the time. Like, they had guys that were great. And then also on their offense, they had Donald Driver. They had fucking Greg Jennings. They had guys all around them.
Yeah.
Brian
Some
Grant.
really good pieces in there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Same thing with Pittsburgh. Ben fucking stepped into a team with Jerome Bettis, Hines Ward,
up and coming, freaking
Plaxico Burress. Of course, he got released after
Santonio Holmes.
Not at the beginning, but yeah.
That's my joke for you, though.
But yeah, it's like there are teams that you step into, but the fact that Brady continued. Brady won 3 Super Bowls with all white guys as his wide receivers, basically. Okay, he literally won 3 Super Bowls with Edelman, Amendola, and fucking Chris Hogan on his receiving core.
Yeah.
The 14 one he had Brandon LaFell, but for 16,
and he had Todd Law, and you
16
think about the guys they had.
For 16 and 18, he had Chris Hogan, Amendola, and fucking Edelman. Yeah. Like, he had guys that...
He only had a couple good guys last year, though.
The talking heads would always say, like, well, none of these guys are the best receivers, and yet Brady still fucking won games with them.
He had Randy last year. Then he had Randy Moss one year where he threw 50 touchdowns. Yeah. And they still lost to fucking Eli and the fucking Giants.
Who's next on the list?
I had the Patriots... Mac Jones is not in the same position Brady is. He's just not. And so tonight they're going to freaking play Tampa Bay. Tommy's coming back to town. Tommy needs 68 yards to go in front of all-time passing. He'll be at 81,000 yards, close to 81,000. I think he's at 80,000.
Yeah, he broke 80,000 against the Rams, and then he would break the record tonight, which Drew Brees
He needs
holds.
68 yards. 68 yards to break the record tonight.
That's going to happen. That's not a problem.
I would expect it to happen, kind of thing. You know, it's one of those things.
Okay.
I would expect that to happen.
Who's next on the list?
We did Raiders, Chargers. We did Steelers. Here it is. The big one. Let's do these two. Let's do Jets and Jags. Where are we at with Jets and Jags?
Okay. The thing about I'll start with the Jags. I don't think that Lawrence is a bad quarterback. I really don't. I think that he has taken a position. He's trying to be a leader. Like, I see him out on the field or on the sideline. Mm-hmm. He's trying to hype his guys up. He's trying to keep them in the game.
He has great off the field presence. When you talk to him, when they interview him and he talks to the press, he's like, "We're almost there. Yeah. We're working hard. This is it. It's going to happen. We're not focused on wins and losses. We're just yes, they are, but they're trying to get better. Period. That's where they're at.
Fuck about I lost this many games in college and high school. No, it's like
he lost 4 games between high school and college. He lost 2. He was like 55-2
if you remember,
in high school.
In the college recruiting class, it was him and Fields as the 2 best players in the country. Trust me, Fields is ready.
Yeah, and Fields was at Georgia first, right? And then he left Georgia to end up in Ohio State.
Yeah. Sorry. But anyway,
they're not there yet.
I think that the Jags aren't there yet, but I don't think that they are an awful football team like they were last year.
They came out this past week and they played exceptionally well in the first half.
And they just lost it at the end.
But you know as well as I do, and we keep saying this, that teams have to know how to finish. You know what I mean? You have to be able to finish. It's one of those things where you can start out like a house of fire, but if somebody freaking breaks out a giant fire hose, what are you going to do? How are you going to overcome that adversity? How are you going to make that happen? And that's just what they needed, and it'll come in time. I think the Jags are almost there to grab a win, maybe a couple of wins. I don't see them winning much more than maybe 4 games all season, but that's just where we're at with them. And then with the Jets,
they got their first win.
They got their first win today against the freaking.
I will still say this, that they do look like a revitalized team a little bit more than last year. Because last year, they didn't have a head coach at the very end of the year. And they also just didn't have an offense. Like, their offense just looked in complete shambles. Just their team in general looked complete shambles.
Yeah, and when Derrick Henry runs, he carries the ball. How many? He has 33 yards at 157, 33 times 157 yards. He is one arm tackle from freaking changing a score in a second.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not, you know, I think about Ryan Tannehill, and he is not as dynamic as I thought
I'm turning this game off. It's awful.
Yeah, put on. I
got Red Zone on.
Good Red Zone. Because I'm telling you what, right now the Cardinals are decimating the Rams.
Are they really?
Yes, it is. It is now 34-13. And that's one of the next games we were getting to.
One of the teams, yeah.
One of the teams was this whole Cardinals and Rams thing. Are the Cardinals for real? Or are the Rams for real? Because last week when the Cardinals manhandled freaking Tampa Bay, they just did.
The Rams, you mean?
I'm sorry, the Rams. They humbled freaking the Buccaneers. Now, do the Buccaneers
I don't think they humbled them. I think they just woke them up and said, like, look, guys, every team is out to beat us. They are.
Yeah, when you're the team to beat, you carry a bullseye.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm like, and they didn't respond. It didn't happen. I mean, Brady gets a touchdown, you know, whatever. But the fact was, the Rams, and I'll tell you what, freaking, they looked really sharp.
Yeah.
They look really sharp. Now, not having Antonio Brown hurts you.
Not having Antonio and Rob Gronkowski.
And then Gronkowski go down with the rib injury and stuff like that. But at the end of the day,
they also did commit stupid penalties.
Yeah.
They also did get cute with a lot of
things. Got hurt. They got hurt early in the season. They're secondary. They're bringing Richard Sherman here. Exactly. I don't know how effective Sherman will be tonight. I don't know if he'll even...
I don't think he'll play.
I don't even know if he'll play. But
at the end of the day, I'm telling you right now, what you see at the beginning of the season isn't going to matter at the end of the year if you make the playoffs.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It's not how you start. It's always how you finish. But, you know, you look at what Stafford had done with his receiving core against a less than spectacular secondary from the Bucs. Today, he is... his freaking quarterback rating is less than 80. He's like at 75.
Matt Stafford?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, he's thrown for he's thrown for 200 yards and he's got a freaking touchdown and a pick. So
yeah, their defense has been the shining light.
Absolutely.
Their defense was last year their shining light as well.
Exactly.
I think that, you know, and also they lost their defensive coordinator too. So I think they've come together as a defense and said, like, look, we can be something special, and they can't. But I'm telling you right now, just because they beat Tom Brady right now, ask New
doesn't
Orleans
mean
how
that they'll do it later.
Yeah.
But we've always said that in order for good teams to get to the playoffs and be successful in the playoffs, you have to be healthy. And even though the Bucs weren't 100% healthy last year, they're even less healthy in the secondary right now.
Yes. But so those players, they will have them back at the end of the year.
You would think, yeah. And do you think about how they used Gronkowski earlier in the year last year? And they didn't use him that way this year.
But when he came to the Super Bowl,
I guarantee you this: Gronkowski's going to have limited play. You got to get freaking O.J. Howard out there. You got to get more freaking reps out of him. I think the Buccaneers will be fine.
Oh, they're
they
gonna
have
be
too
fine.
much. They have too much talent to be there.
Tom Brady's going to.
Will the Rams be there?
Yeah, I do think they will.
'Cause-
But at the same time, I go, are they a disciplined enough team or a special enough team to say, hey, we've got to play sound fundamental football?
Right.
Because when Sean McVay plays against Tom Brady in the past, it hasn't really worked out defensively for him in the playoffs. If you look at the Super Bowl, remember the Rams versus Patriots Super Bowl? That was not a good showing for Sean McVay.
It wasn't a
really
good showing. Yeah, you're right.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
And also, like,
It was almost like the moment was too big for him. Like he was
they
so.
also got fucking lucky to be in that game to begin with that non-call against the
non-call
Saints.
against
Yeah,
the
like
Saints.
I
don't think that
still
would have
haunts.
mattered at that point. It could have been a different game, but you're right. You're right. I think so. I think you're 100%. But you know, I look at where the Rams are, and they're scoring points. You know, they're scoring what in 4 games they've scored almost 100 points.
Well,
That's what you need.
Another team that is starting hot once again with them is the Arizona Cardinals, who they're playing right now.
So who's for real of the two teams?
Oh, I think that the Cardinals are for real.
their
more than the
defense.
Rams.
I think their defense is.
I don't think it's that. I think it's Kyler is having his redemption tour of last year, because if you look back to last year, the Cardinals started off hot, then they just completely simmered down.
But they're doing it right now.
But they
They're
are doing
starting
but
out-
they are doing it like I'm not even
In spades.
They
Okay, I gotcha.
absolutely
Yeah.
fucking hammered the Titans. They
Right now,
well,
Kyler-
they did barely get away with the win against Minnesota. They
Kyler
did.
is currently right now. He's 24 of 32 for 268 and 2 touchdowns. And so, did they just get a pick or a turnover?
No, it's turnover on downs.
Nice. I
On the goal line too. On the goal line.
See, this is the part where Matt Stafford has never been that guy. And you're talking about a guy who played with Megatron. He's got Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp's not Megatron.
Nobody's Megatron. Nobody's Megatron.
And,
Who do we have next on that list there?
we had Bears. We talked Raiders and Chargers. We talked about Steelers, Cardinals, and Rams. Who was for real? We talked Bucks. Are they vulnerable? Maybe. Injuries are piling up, especially in the secondary. Key guys like Gronkowski, not having AB last week with his freaking COVID quarantine. Is he back this week? I don't know. I did
No,
not.
I don't think he
I
will
did
be.
not check that.
I don't think he will.
I didn't
be.
check that up. We talked about the Chiefs. The Chiefs showed they're vulnerable, but today they responded. And
Yeah, but I also think that goes back to the Eagles being very gung ho. I do think that the Eagles are a good team.
I think, yeah.
But
I
but
think
the
they had their
problem-
moments today.
But the problem is that I don't know why they don't run the football. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
being honest.
We
with
talked
you.
about that earlier
go-
today.
Miles
Jesus.
Sanders to me is a great running back. I do think that Miles Sanders.
How
is
do
a
you
good
not
running back.
have any play action
But you don't-
game and stuff?
you
You
just
don't.
don't
You
run the
just
football.
don't. They just don't.
They had 2 goal line situations.
Yeah.
They had to settle for field goals because they didn't fucking run
And
the
you're
ball.
not going to beat the Chiefs settling for field goals. You're just not going to beat them settling for field
Yeah,
goals.
it's just I don't understand what.
Well,
the
what
Eagles
about
have
these?
to do.
What about these two teams? We're watching right now. We got the Ravens and Broncos on, and the Ravens are currently leading the Broncos 17-7, right?
Well, I think the Ravens are in a situation now where it's all on Lamar. You lost your 2 starting running backs for the year.
And you got Le'Veon. Le'Veon will be
I know,
there.
but it's not their like they don't have that triple option effect now with
Yep.
Edwards and Dobbins, and now you're putting it on Lamar a little bit more, and then also your defense also lost Marcus Peters as well. Like you literally have a defense that.
But they're stifling a really, really good freaking Denver defense.
Yeah, but I think that's also because their defense, the Denver defense isn't very. I mean, the Denver offense isn't very.
Dynamic.
They're
would
not
you
very
say?
dynamic. Vic Fangio, sure, he brought in Teddy and he beat out Drew Lock, but they're still not that.
And Teddy
dynamic.
Bridgewater, I think, I if there's any quarterback in the league I want to have a redemption time, it's him.
Teddy.
It was at one time it was Ryan Tannehill. At one time it was freaking Fitzmagic. But I'm so off of that stuff now. But I want Teddy Bridgewater to do well. I thought he could do well in Carolina. I thought he would match a freaking Matt Rule offense in Carolina much better. And there's another team right there, Carolina, who shit the bed today. That I
don't
thought
think
would.
they shit the bed. I think that Dallas is just a good football team right now.
I don't disagree. Dak Prescott's a good fucking football player.
He's playing great.
Yes,
they,
he
they
is.
really are.
I think you're right. Dak Prescott is out to prove what he didn't get done last year because of his injury. And he's showing no signs of any of that. None whatsoever.
Exactly.
I don't know. He's another guy I want to see do well. You know, I don't want to see any guy suffer a freaking injury like he did. But at the same time, they are the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott, freaking solid day rushing the ball, 140 plus yards. I want a guy like Dak Prescott to have a good day. He doesn't throw for a ton of yards, but he threw for 4 touchdowns. You know, he didn't throw for 200 yards today, but he had 4 touchdowns, which tells me they're in the red zone making shit happen. And when you have Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott in your backfield, and one of the things I argue about is you have Tony Pollard is a faster version of Ezekiel Elliott with a little more dynamics. And then you have Ezekiel Elliott, who's a good pass receiver and a good power back. And how they don't find a way to put both those guys on the field and match them against linebackers astounds me. But, you know, I'm not an NFL coach, but I think when you have 2 dynamic guys like that who can carry the ball, all you have to do is get them short passes and let them do their thing. You have something that could be special for you. And I don't see that out of them. And that, to me, that bugs me for some reason.
Okay. Well, who do you think is going to win tonight, though? Let's go ahead and finish off the NFL talk with who do you think is going to win tonight? I think that Tampa's going to win just because I think that Brady knows Bill Belichick better than anybody. There's nobody Brady just knows every defense. He knows every coverage. He knows everything that you're going to bring at him. And I think that Brady's going to ultimately win because I think that Tampa also is going to be like, look, we got to get after Mac.
Yep.
Our front 4 is very fast.
They're good. They're good enough.
They're very dynamic. So I think
is Pierre-Paul playing tonight? I thought he was questionable.
Oh my God, are they going to say? Oh my God, they just got to. Wow, they really are decimating the Rams. Sorry.
And yeah, they're just making play after play against them. I will say this: I think that the Patriots are suspect just because they're not extremely well rounded.
Did they run the ball on 3rd and 7 at the 5-yard? They ran the ball on
Look at
3rd
that
and
freaking
7.
inside zone, and they roached the shit out of freaking. Wow. That's a 45-yard gain. Look at that. He just steps off tackle. There's nobody there.
Holy shit. Sorry, the Cardinals they really are rolling the Rams right now.
And then they just gashed him for 6 yards on first down.
Yeah.
James Conner, look at that. Revitalized career. Could he be a stand-up?
So. I hope he does well. I really do.
I mean,
there's nobody that I want to see do better than him. I don't think there's anybody in the NFL that I want to be more happy.
He's one of those
James
guys
Conner.
that you got to cheer for, kind of thing. Yeah,
I
don't disagree.
He has been through more in his entire life than more people, and he's as old as I am. He's been through more in his life than people have in their entire lives, and he's as old as I am with his Hodgkin's lymphoma and his coming to Pittsburgh, finally getting the start when Le'Veon Bell left. To basically being hurt for 2.5 years, to now he finally gets a contract with Arizona,
and
he's
look
running back.
Look what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I like
I'm
that.
I'm so happy.
Let's take a look at the box score. Let's see where he's rushing at right now. Currently, the Cardinals are beating the Rams 34-13, and everybody was ready to anoint. Where's he at? Arizona rushing. James Conner, 18 carries, 50 yards. Chase Edmonds, 7 carries, 91 yards. But he He just ripped off it was a 54-yard gain.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you got to like James Conner and his will to freaking be successful. You can't not like a guy like that. You just can't.
Let's move on to a little college talk. You want to get the beers though?
Sure, we can do that.
Just
you
go ahead.
You got a glass right there, and
Yeah.
I got one here. We got two, and they're both from Pennsylvania, from our old hometown, Chambersburg.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Gear House Brewing. So
Okay.
give me back. Watch out there, Jeans.
Holy shit.
Our dog Jeans is laying right
They-
at my chair. She's out. She's out sleeping.
This offensive line is absolutely manhandling the Rams. They have no pressure, and this is a defensive line with Aaron Donald. These guys are a very solid front four, and they are just getting no pressure. They're getting no leverage whatsoever, and they are just moving the pile every single play. Okay, so
So what do we got? Getting a little beer talk here.
yeah,
Let me get my mic up here. I get my mic set up here. There we go. All right. So I went to go visit your grandmother, and we went to the farmers market, and your mother and I got separated. She was walking around hanging out with your grandmother, and I got separated from him. I went upstairs. I was checking out my glasses, my eyeballs, my one eye, my right eye is really struggling right now, and I'm going to the eye doctor tomorrow. So I was walking around this farmer's market where your grandmother lives up near the West Shore in Harrisburg, and I found a place. It's a farmer's market with a whole bunch of plain people for some reason, but the food is fucking ridiculous. Everything that's there is so good, and it's fresh. It's vegetables, it's meat, it's snacks, it's baked goods, it's you name it, they have it. From chicken to beef to pork to turkey, they got it all. And so I was wandering around, and like I said, I got separated from your mom and your grandmother, and I found this lady standing next to this freaking table, and there was a refrigerator next to her, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I look in the fridge, and I go, is that beer? And I go, I know, because we got there later in the day, and it closes at a certain time, and so I was like, are you still open? She goes, absolutely. How can I help you? And I go, I like beer. And so she says, absolutely. She goes, we're from Chambersburg. And I go, Chambersburg? I said, I used to live there. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. So we had a brief conversation. And I talked with Troy, the big meathead Troy. Well, Troy had taken me to Gear House, and I'd never realized it before. But I grabbed a 4-pack of their beer, and we only have 2 left. This is the German-style Kolsch that they have. So it's Gear House Brewing Company in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. This is called the German-style Kolsch. And one of our favorite beers in the history of the show was Kiss Me Kolsch from down the road, down there at the Backyard Brewery, which is now closed because the owner passed away.
is it really?
Yeah, it's for sale.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But it's a German style beer, but this is a really light one. So this is only 4% alcohol by volume. So it's like a less than a regular, like a Miller Lite, Bud Light kind of thing. This one's called Kolsch, and that's all there is. And it's a real simple label. You can see it there,
Yep.
made by Gear House Brewing. And we're going to taste this puppy. And if it's anything like Kiss Me Kolsch, you can see it's definitely a light, really light. I'm going to take a big drink of that, and I'm going to hand that over to you. Got it? Got it. Don't spill it on the board. Oh, look at that. It's got a great color to it. Let's take that smell. The first number 1 step. Oh, it smells like a typical Kolsch beer. Very light. Crisp, not a whole lot.
No, there's really not.
There's
much
no
to
bite,
this.
no nothing. It's a very light German beer.
Wow, that's
Aftertaste, any kind of aftertaste or anything like that?
No,
you get?
there's really nothing to this.
Yeah,
There's so much, I kind of like it then. And there's so
yeah. I
much
mean,
to
it's
it.
It kind of hits you. It's got a simple taste to it. There's nothing spectacular about it,
Yep.
but it's not a bad thing either when you think about it. For me, the biggest thing is having an aftertaste. And if there's an aftertaste or like a sludge or a back taste to it, I'm not a fan of that. But this doesn't have that.
This hasn't. No, it really doesn't.
And the big kicker is, and that's our number 3, is the aftertaste. Is there an aftertaste or an odd taste that you can't identify or that takes away from the beer? And this absolutely does not have that.
Huh.
So if we're sitting in the summertime or any time and you got a cooler full of beer, you going back and smashing
Yeah,
a couple
I
more
would.
of these?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think so.
Yeah, I do.
And I think the fact that it's only 4% alcohol by volume, considering when you look at, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was just watching a big pass play. I think San Francisco's making a run here.
Trey Lance has to play right now because Jimmy Garoppolo is out with the calf
Ding.
injury.
And we'll see what's going on with Trey Lance. Look at him step up under the pressure because he's young. Look at his feet.
All right, Coach.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I would definitely go back for more than one beer here with this.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to classify that.
Oh.
And I want to say it's a light beer. But it's a light beer masquerading with some sort of trying to get you a full body taste. And the only thing I can think of is like a regular low quality. And that's terrible to say, but a low quality beer. Like I've tasted a lot of cream ales. I probably had 4 or 5 different cream ales, and this easily fits within that cream ale kind of setup.
Okay.
But it's not 100% a light beer to me, and it should be at 4.0%. But it's crisp enough, and it's sharp, and I think, I'm telling you, on a summer day, and there was a cooler full of these, the freaking cooler would get smashed. It would get freaking emptied in a heartbeat. All right, so our next one, and I was excited about this one. I saved this one for last. This is another Gear House Brewing. This one's called Kickstand. And Kickstand is a golden ale. And this one's got a little bit more of a punch to it. It's got 5% alcohol by volume. And it's one of those beers, and it's typical of me to expect to have a beer that is cold. And I like beer that is ice cold. And I am a big fan of golden ales. So there you go. This is Kickstand. We'll let Patrick check that out. Great color. Great smell. So a little less than the Kolsch. A little less smell than the Kolsch there.
Has a little
First
bit of a bite, but then it goes just
Disappears right away,
wow.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is a really good beer.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a good beer.
Wow, I actually kind of like that a little bit more than the first one.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's because it's 5.0. And I know it's only 1% alcohol, but it has zero aftertaste.
Yeah. No.
It's crisp. It's very sharp taste. And when I say sharp, it's look at you hammer that shit down.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, I think you could drink a couple of these. You need to text Patrick to come down here and try some of these. Your brother went out last night with the coaches, and I think he had a few too many, but he would like these too. So get on your phone there and text Patrick and tell him to come down here and try these. I think you'll like them because they are very light. He's not going to get very much of this Kolsch because I think I'm going to drink a couple of them anyway. It does. It has a little bit like you're taking it in through your nose, and it has just a little bit of a bite, and then it fades away, and there is zero aftertaste. This is a good beer. This is one of those beers where you can just, once again, there's a cooler full of beer. You're smashing these things. What do we got here, Pittsburgh?
It's 4th down.
4th and 5. Oh, and they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. Oh, and here he comes.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
All right.
Mr. Touch of Texas coming down the stairs. Patrick, so you got to taste this one. The first one's a Kolsch. It's a very light beer. It's 4% alcohol by volume. Is there a glass right there? Or let me
just
finish
taste it from the can.
Taste it
That's
from the
fine.
can. Drink that.
That's fine.
That's pretty good. That's Gearhouse. Gearhouse Brewing. Really, really light. Nothing spectacular about that in terms of taste. No aftertaste. Super, super light beer.
And
Yeah,
then,
you like it?
then here's the other
And
one.
then if you don't want to drink like 5 or 6 of these, you got a problem. Because I would rival that with any commercial beer right there. Any commercial beer right there. Golden Ale is what it's called. You like that? That's really good. That's 5% alcohol.
Aftertaste in that one.
Just a little bit, but it's a more of like this one masquerades as a like it wants to be full body beer, but it's not. It's definitely a light beer, but that one has a full body taste like it's a regular beer, but it's definitely crisp. It's definitely a good, very, very good beers.
They're good.
Yeah. So Gearhouse Brewing, we had a 4-pack.
Gearhouse?
Yeah, both are Gearhouse, and then we did 2 on the show a couple of weeks, not last week, but the week before, and they were really good too. So Gearhouse is, if you're not getting a Gearhouse, you fucking suck. So get the Gearhouse Brewing in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, if you get into the area and check it out. Really, really good beer. So there you go, CJ.
Okay. Well, let's move on to hops. And
Oh, hops of the week. You got one?
yeah, I do. I actually have an interesting one. So I have it in my
Don't mind me. I'm gonna drink the rest of these
I
beers.
have it in my notes here of what I wanted to
What do
say.
you do with that? It's too far away from me. I can't.
Oh, this?
Yeah, my
Sorry.
arm's not that long.
Sorry.
That's all right.
There you go. All right. So
If I had an 8-foot arm, I'd be
let me find
okay.
the tweet first because it's an article from it, but I need to find the article that I found on the tweet. It was a couple days ago. But basically, the overall talk about it is, come on now. So, a guy by the name of T.J. McDaniel, who was a running back for SMU.
Okay.
He was a running back for SMU, and he broke his ankle. Let me actually find it online here. But he broke his ankle, and after he broke his ankle, he had to get surgery on it. Doctor said, if you want to return to play fast, you're gonna have to get surgery on it, and you're gonna have to. Yeah, that's going to be the quickest way that you want to return to play. So what he did was, yeah, here we go. It's on Google here. I know that. Come on now, come on. So basically,
What does that say? What does that say?
So he was a running back at SMU. He chose an alternative recovery process over surgery because his brother said to do this over having surgery.
Uh-oh.
A year later, he has still not been cleared to return to play.
So he took
Doctors-
an alternative route,
Yep.
and they won't clear him.
Doctors are saying, dude, you're still not healthy enough to play. You're not healthy enough to play. So let's say this. SMU starting running back had just fractured his fibula and dislocated his ankle. He ripped the foot back into place before the medical team came out trying to release the pressure built up in his leg.
Holy
By the time he was
shit.
carted off, talk about surgery, yada, yada, yada. But in the days after, McDaniel went all in on an alternative recovery path at the urging of his brother. It was a decision that would ultimately change the direction of his college football career. Instead of surgery, he decided to use an electrical machine made by his brother's company to heal his injury. The device normally used to stimulate muscles.
Yeah,
was
I have a stim
untested-
machine.
Was untested on severe injuries such as broken bones, and his brother had no medical background. Surgery would have entailed a standard recovery of 4 to 6 months, followed by a return to football. Now, more than a year later, McDaniel remains sidelined and may never play football again. Ultimately, yada, yada, yada. It's an injury that's pretty common. There is a normal kind of regular way to deal, which is surgical. There is a body of work that I think people are comfortable with, most doctors. McDaniel, then a sophomore, said he made his decision to not have surgery despite meeting with the SMU team doctors and orthopedic surgeons, all of whom recommended surgery and were skeptical of the alternative path. And then, like I said, more than a year later, after a broken foot, as I said, it would have taken 4 to 6 months to heal a broken foot. More than a year later now, he is still not able to return to play because doctors are like, yeah, your foot still has not healed. Your foot's not repaired. Because as you know, with surgery, they're able to put metal rods in to basically heal your bones from a broken foot. And the tendons are also able to be repaired with metal rods as well. Now, you basically used a machine to just stimulate your muscles, but the bones are still fucking broken. It's you still don't have stability on your foot.
There are all kinds of medical geniuses out there.
It's like
wearing a mask.
That's
isn't
like
it?
that episode of Scrubs where it's like, yeah, I have to have my appendix taken out, but I don't want to be under anesthesia. What? What are you going to use? Oh, we're going to use, I forget what they used, but they basically used a person there to like talk in their ear and
hypnotize them or something?
Yeah, hypnotize them. And no joke, once he made the first incision, she woke right up and started screaming because literally,
no shit.
There's no,
yeah. There's something
you're
called
not under.
There's something called nerves.
Yeah, you're not. That's basically like what this happened. You're trying to do something that doctors are like, yeah, your foot is completely broken. You ripped the tendons from your foot. Also, before the doctors even got on the field, you tried to repair yourself basically to loosen some of the pain. And that only made it worse for doctors to say, like, yeah, you're going to need surgery. And what did your brother do who had no medical background? Said, oh, yeah, just use this machine that my company has. And now you may never play football again because now your foot still hasn't recovered by now. So your foot is probably fucked for a long time now because you still haven't now. Let's say you have surgery now, coach. What's going to happen? You still may not have full mobility again because surgery would have been immediately. If you would have talked to the doctors, it would have been immediate. 2 days later, you get surgery.
Yeah, have it done, and then you're into recovery, and then it's the 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it is.
Now you've been over a year later, and you've had no reconstruction.
How are you not beating your brother's ass?
How are you not? How did you think that this was a good idea, though?
Yeah.
You went to college. A lot of people go to college for 7 years. Oh, that's right. They're called doctors.
Shut up, Richard.
Yeah, that's my hops of the week, though.
All right. Well, so I got one that bled into another, and so last 2 weeks ago when we had our show, we had Coach Breeden on, and Coach Breeden, we got cut off because he was doing his. We had a pause on the computer and it got cut off, but he was doing his thing on this new freaking TikTok challenge called Devious Licks. That is just sweeping through schools, and now they've released a list. There's this list for the next like 5 or 6 months through here. Like November is Kiss Your Friend's Girlfriend at School. So like how many people are going to be involved in a fucking fight in schools? December is Deck the Halls and Show Your Balls. who is going? I'm not kidding you. Who's going to freaking drop their drawers and show their freaking
God, that's
what that
fucking
is?
great.
January is jab a breast. February is mess up the school signs. Really, that's a good one. March is make a mess in the courtyard or cafeteria. I think one of them, if I'm not mistaken, October was somebody saying something about slap something. At one point, I thought it was slap somebody in. They don't have the October one listed here. Yeah. October was supposed to be like slap somebody in the face, like slap a teacher.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm going to be on a heightened awareness in the next month for slap your teacher. Well, let's just say that how I react will not be nice.
Let's just say that if you smack me,
and you
it's
knock
only
my
fair. It's called an eye for an eye.
yeah, Hammurabi's
But I
code.
did it for a TikTok.
Hammurabi's
And I
code.
did it because you slapped me in the face.
Yeah, I'm
called
sorry.
self-defense.
Yeah, I know I lost my job, but your arm doesn't work, and you will never forget who broke your arm because your arm never works the same way again. But anyway, so that's this new thing that Josh was talking about, and then I looked it up, and because he was talking about this devious licks thing. Who the hell comes up with that? Really? Who comes up with that?
I don't know.
All right, so my other one is this. So this Illinois man woke up, and he woke up and he was being bitten on the neck by a bat. And he tested positive for rabies, and he refused to undergo the treatment for rabies, which is common. And guess what happens if you don't get the treatment for rabies? It's fucking fatal. In almost every case, if you do not get the medical treatment for this rabies bite, you're going to fucking die. And this old man chose not to, and guess what? He
died.
fucking died. So I started to look this up, and I started to look at they found that in his freaking attic, he had a colony of bats living in his fucking attic. And he was bitten on the neck, and he refused treatment, ended up dying. And so I looked it up, and it says since 1900, there have only been 2 years. It says that there were more than 100 people that were bitten by bats up until like 1900. And then just 1 or 2 people since 1960. Do the fucking math. It's been like 60 years.
It's guaranteed suicide.
Yeah, you get bit, and that's what's going to happen. From 1960 to 2018, 127 rabies cases were reported in the United States, with a quarter of them resulting in dog bites. This guy got bit by a fucking bat. And all you had to do is undergo the treatment, and you're going to survive. Well, guess what the old man does? He goes, I don't need the treatment. And he fucking died. All I know is I wake up in the morning and I see my dogs, and my dog isn't going to bite me because she's a sweetheart, and so is Guns. They're sweethearts. They're not going to bite me. But I'm telling you what, if a bat fucking bit me in the neck and they tested positive for rabies, don't you think you'd get the treatment? Don't you think?
No, I'm a badass. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, as long as I don't run into Bane, I'm going to be okay. Or the freaking Riddler, or the freaking Joker, or the Penguin, I'm going to be okay. But apparently, some old man in Illinois didn't think it was important enough to get the fucking vaccine, which is a series of freaking medical treatments, but it's survivable. You're going to survive. Like 100% you're going to survive. And he goes, nah, I'm not going to do it. And I don't know why that freaking bugged me, but I started to look at this, and I'm thinking, who fucking thinks like that? Who fucking thinks I wake up? First of all, who wakes up in the morning with a bat on their neck and goes,
It's just a flesh wound.
he likes me. He likes me. Yeah,
That
I don't
was
know.
your
So
hops,
that's my hops is the freaking Devious Licks and the fucking bat. Maybe Devious Licks needs to be bitten by a bat because how stupid can you get? It's all pointed at public schools, and as a public school teacher, the kids, the vast majority of kids do the right thing. They just do. They are who they are. But there's a certain percentage of let's call them shitbirds,
Idiots.
yeah, shitbirds who don't do that and are excited about that. I have the bathroom, which is right around the corner from my room, was closed down for 2 days after lunch because this hot licks thing. They tore the soap dispenser off the wall, and it's just like, are you shitting me? Like, why? Why is that even happening? And if you go, just think about it. If you go into the bathroom and somebody's freaking videoing somebody doing something stupid, whether it's writing on the wall or whatever, you could become famous by whipping the shit out of them because okay, are you going to get suspended for fighting in the bathroom? Maybe. But that fucking dude who got his ass whipped in the freaking bathroom is going to know why the rest of the school can't go to the bathroom when they want to.
All right, Coach.
That's just
I
me.
got you. All right.
All right. I'm good.
Well, enjoy the
Don't
game
get me started.
tonight. You have Brady, who we thought
All-time
would retire,
passing record tonight,
would
68
retire
yards.
A New England Patriot. You thought forever. There's no
I
way
did.
he's going anywhere
I did.
else.
If you listen to the show,
And in just his second year after he won a Super Bowl in Tampa, he's coming back home for maybe his last year. Who knows?
could be.
And
Could be.
he's going to break the all-infamous record that was previously held by Peyton before broken by Breeze.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to be Brady.
80,000 plus yards.
Yep. So until next time, guys, peace out.
Hey, it was good having you
Yeah.
back in
Yeah, I know.
the pub.
Yeah, I'll be back here in a little bit.
All right.
Until next time.
See you
Peace out.
guys.
Lee.
Love you.